great day this morning. Hopefully you're grateful to God for waking you up this morning. I most definitely, certainly am. And I want to talk about last night. Pretty interesting game. The way it unfolded. The way the game started was the way I envisioned the series being. The Timberwolves took a commanding lead, but could never really pull away because the OKC Thunder was hot on their trails, kept coming back, kept getting back in the game, and it made it very, very difficult for the Minnesota Timberwolves to sustain a lead. Now, I will say that in the first half, going into the third, the Minnesota Timberwolves they were playing brilliant defense, on-ball defense, got a few blocks. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was blocked under the basket, coming in by the big man on the Minnesota Timberwolves. His name escapes. I think it's Isaiah Hartenstein, I believe. Got a couple of blocks, one big block, and they were just playing Shai good. They were kind of playing on the ball, off the ball, playing the passing lanes a lot, and it looked very impressive. But one thing I started noticing, what's going on, Alexander? I see you, man. In the second half, the biggest thing that got, because like the game was close, because they wouldn't let them pull away. So like towards the end of the quarter, I think at the half, they were only down 4, I believe. And then in the second half, just the whole team as a whole started just playing really, really good. They were rebounding the ball very well. They weren't allowing Minnesota to get second and third shot opportunities. They were playing, they were rebounding very, very well, and that, and even in the problem, I think, the Thunder clearly, to me, from watching the first game, is head and shoulders the better team. I wasn't sure at first because they weren't shooting the ball well, especially in the first half. Even though they weren't shooting the ball well, they were finding ways to keep themselves in the game, making their free throws, just playing well as a team. I felt like all the role players, Alex Caruso, those guys, came in and did what they were supposed to do. Minnesota Timberwolves were getting a lot of production from their bench in the first half. Second half, not so much. And the lead just, one minute they were up. I was watching something else. I turned my TV back, and next thing you know, it's a blowout. And I'm like, wow. So like the game was wide open in the second half, and it was just pretty much belonged to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They just was playing better basketball. They was fundamentally better. Good production from the bench. Everybody was just pretty much stepping up, doing their part. And Minnesota, they want to even this series and get back in the series, because especially with them not having home court advantage. If they lose game 2, you may as well. The fat lady has sung. You may as well call it the Undertaker, the preachers, say the benediction, whatever your cliche is. It's over with if they lose game 2. But what I think they got to do more of is not allowing the Oklahoma City Thunder to get so many offensive rebounds. They got to keep them off the boards. They got to play better defense. Then they actually play good defense, but they got to keep that going. They have to be consistent with it. Ant-Man is going to have to be that dude. He's going to have to be a dog. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got 31 points last night. He came through for his team. Ant-Man, yes. Early. Later, no, not as much. But Ant-Man's just going to have to, he's got to penetrate. He's got to go to the basket. Yeah, I think Minnesota was relying on that three-pointer way more than they probably should have been. They were shooting too many jumpers. And they're going to have to find a way to get to the bucket and do it consistently. Get to the free throw line, hit free throws. It's going to be a tough game. If you're on the road, you usually want to win game 1 because you don't want to give the home team too much advantage in the first game. Because if the home team gets that first game, then the pressure's on the away team. Because you always want to split the first two, but if you're going to split them, I'd rather win game one and lose game two if I'm on the road. So now you have a tall task ahead of you. Because now you have to try to win. You have to win game two. And then if you lose game two, if you lose one of the next two at home, you're looking at a 3-1 lead, and that's pretty much a death sentence. So this is a must-win. Like, Minnesota's going to have to come through. Everybody's going to have to. They're going to need production from everybody. Julius Randle, all of the requisite parts. Plus, Ant-Man's going to have to just be that guy. Rudy Gobert is going to have to play better down the stretch of the game. They're going to have to just play better basketball. Rudy Gobert is too inconsistent. And that's one of my biggest problems with him down the stretch. I said Hartenstein earlier. Hartenstein is on the Thunder. I meant Rudy Gobert is what I meant. But they just gonna have to just play better. They're gonna have to play better basketball. They're gonna have to they got to be consistent. I believe the Minnesota Timberwolves would have won the game had they did what was working early. And I think they got away from that, and I think part of that's just the coaching of the Thunder. And I just think the Thunder just ramped up their defense, started to rebound the ball. But the Minnesota Timberwolves are gonna have to keep the Thunder off the boards. They got to keep them off the back. They got to keep them off the offensive rebound. They can't let them get all these offensive rebounds. They don't. They do, the games don't get out of hand. So they have to find a way to make things a little bit more interesting and make them have to fight for every rebound, have to fight for every loose ball. And then if they get fouled, they got to make their free throws. And they got to shoot better, shoot the ball. They got to drive the basketball and not live and die by that three-point shot. Because Dante DiVincenzo was not the Dante DiVincenzo that he normally is. Like, he wasn't getting enough looks at the basket. I would say go to Dante DiVincenzo a little bit more, because he's a consistent, for the most part. He don't fake. He goes through spurts where he's a little cold and he's streaky sometimes. But one of the better role players in the league when it comes to outside shooting, if I'm going to go to somebody late in the game to hit a big three, Dante DiVincenzo's the guy I'm going to. So this your boy Brandon Love Sports TV. We're going to continue to watch this series as it unfolds, moving over to the Eastern Conference tonight. New York against the Pacers. I'm cheering for New York. I'm behind them 100%. Let's see what they do. See, the better team is going to win this series. It's not going to come down to Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton. Yes, they're going to both be battling it out, but it's just going to be whatever team, the supporting cast, whatever coaches come up with the best schemes, that's who's going to win. And the guys got to execute them too. Because it don't matter what the coaches do. The players got to execute. All right, y'all. I'll talk to y'all tonight. Watch the game. All right, Brandon Love Sports TV. It's your boy. I'm out. Peace.